at some point. Yeah, we're live. Hey.
Yes, we're live. Hi there, and welcome to Ronin and Nazarin Talks. I'm Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films.
And I'm Nazarinprod.
And today we're going to go back to the wonderful Ernst Lubitsch and do a double bill. Indicator recently released Broken Lullaby from 1932 and Bluebeards 8th wife from 1938. So we're going to just have a little chat about these two films.
Yeah, I mean, I could have showed you them too, but I know Ronan loves doing that. Trying to get a video when he does not show his box off is pretty difficult.
Yes.
And trying to get one where I show it is difficult as well.
It's physical media, so
yeah,
it's to distract from the empty background.
Yeah. I think you don't have an empty. My background is much emptier than yours. It's way emptier. I mean, you've even got Thumper and Godzilla side by side.
That was the mashup we never got. So.
I know.
Godzilla versus Thumper.
Godzilla versus Bambi and Thumper would have been the rival Kong versus Godzilla for the 60s version. I'm talking about.
Yes.
The one in the men in the suit.
Yeah.
So we brought the conversation down to almost insanity already. So that's a job well done for me. I'm pretty proud of that one.
Godzilla mention of the day.
Yeah. Well, I did get the pretty box set, which I showed you a picture of. It's very shiny.
Yes.
It's lovely. Very steelbooky. So I should get the films now, otherwise people will be turning off. So I'm going to describe Broken Lullaby, and we're going to cover that first, and then you'll describe Bluebeards 8th wife. And as I said, since I normally throw the really difficult ones at you, I'll take the more difficult one this time.
Fair enough.
So Broken Lullaby is a melodrama from the early 1930s, which we got a lot of. I mean, James Whale did some of these as well for Universal. In the early times, there was a lot of melodramas because silent films were very melodramatic, and they kind of kept on going with that into the sound. And this one could have been a silent film for the structure. Really, it really could have been a silent film the way it's structured. Instead, you get in places some silent film acting, but we'll get onto that. So basically, it's about a guy who is in France for World War I, and basically he's so guilt-ridden for all the deaths, and he killed this guy in the trenches, and he feels that Germany feels really bad about it and guilt-ridden. He can't get over it because he sees it as murder, not just a killing for war. He sees that as murder, a stain in the soul. So he decides, after advice from a priest, to go to visit this, because he knows the name of the person who died. He decides to visit the family to try and apologise. Of course, the family's in Germany, and this family and all their friends hate the French. I mean, there's a running gag about how much they hate the French. And basically, they think that he knew the son, and he didn't really. He just killed him by accident, because of war. And the story's about how does this. You're waiting for the full movie for this to be revealed, and it's like, what are the circumstances of the lie and how it helps the family of the dead man, and what's going to happen when the truth's revealed. And you see the Frenchman in a German country after the war where there's not much forgiveness. So it is a melodrama, but it's based on the reality of the situation that the Germans and the French hated each other after the war. They really hated each other. Because Britain could bugger off back to Britain, but the French and the Germans still were, much closer together and had a lot more spite for each other. So that's the film. Does that sound logical?
Yeah. Obviously, this is, perhaps an outlier for people who are used to the knockabout Lubitsch comedies, because with the exception of a couple of little Lubitsch touches, I mean, this is not a comedy. and it's obviously about big issues. So I got the impression that when he kills the guy at the start, that might have been certainly the first person he had killed in close quarters. Obviously he might have killed people shooting across no man's land or whatever, but certainly in close quarters, you get the feeling that was the first person that he'd killed. And he finds a letter, so that's how he knows the guy's name and whatever. And what I really love about the fact he goes to the church for advice, and of course the church is of no use, pretty much. He's just like, you are of no use, so I'm just going to go find this family, which I love. And you can tell it's pre-code, because if it was after the code, that scene might have went a little bit differently.
Oh yeah, because all these, they take the whole process, because it starts off in this massive memorial for the fallen. But what they're really showing off is all the kind of process and how vain a lot of people are, and how it's very polite, but it doesn't really get to it ignores the actual pain of the situation. It's much more about the pomp and ceremony, not the actual disasters, the human disasters left.
I mean, it seems like I've been watching quite a lot of short films recently, and again, this is only 77 minutes, but it's just so well done and so well packaged. It doesn't need to be like 2 hours long.
Yeah, plus the ticking clock, basically, of what's going to happen when they find out. I mean, that's the thing. It's a really good one. It has been remade recently. France
there's a really good kind of extra comparing France from 2016 by Ozone. The differences, because a number of times I've actually almost bought Ozone, not knowing anything to do with Broken Lullaby. So it is interesting, the differences in the two films.
Yeah, I haven't got to the extras at all. I mean, I've basically watched the films so far. But yeah, it's also striking how close it is to sound era. You could have just had subtitles and you'd have got the point, because it's obviously Lubitsch is using a lot of filmmaking techniques from silent era, where a lot of it's visual, and and some of the actors are still acting as if they're in a silent movie. The lead actor is he could tone it down a little bit. That's the biggest criticism the film really has, is he's a bit much, but then again his character's gone through a lot, so it kind of works well enough for his character. It's like, the guy's not entirely sane at the moment during the film. He gets sane towards the end, but he's actually dealing with a lot, and he's not dealing with it well. So it's like, well, the actual story allows for that overacting, because it's about that kind of mania. And you've got Lionel Barrymore in it, and he's much more subdued compared to your lead actor. So it kind of balances out.
Yeah, I would say everybody else is fine, but as you say, he's a little bit not over the top, but he is a little bit exaggerated. But as you say, it's probably just to enhance the psychology that's going on with his character.
If he was normal, it would actually feel strange, under emotional. I think if he was just played normal, you would think, what's his big deal? He kind of has to play it a bit more, bigger, so you can get a sense of the damages onto him.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point about the filmmaking techniques that Lubitsch uses, because obviously in the early days of talkies, the camera didn't move a lot, and they kind of did lots of plays, basically filmed plays, and it took a little bit to actually move the camera about. So Lubitsch does kind of break out lots of nice camera moves and dissolves and wipes and things like that.
Yeah, because those early days, they had to be very close to the recording equipment. So I think Lubitsch finds ways to avoid having him speak in certain scenes so he can use camera. And then other times, when they have to speak, he'll find a way to put that footage together with something a bit more traditional to have the dialogue scenes. But even then, he's still quite inventive how he shoots it. It's not just back and forward or anything.
Yeah, because I mean, as I said earlier, it'd be interesting for people who are used to Lubitsch to watch this, and then for people who have never seen Lubitsch to watch this first, and then watch all his other films, because all of his other films are fairly dialogue heavy, whereas this one is obviously much more sparse. But it suits the film and it suits the subject.
It's funny because when I was watching, I was thinking of Bergman films from the 60s. This was like a prototype for Bergman, where he was going to go. This kind of damaged person trying to deal with the past and deal with other people, and how do you deal with something you can't really solve? It felt kind of Bergman-ish before Bergman.
Yeah, and obviously the choices that characters make. The soldier that he killed, his fiance is obviously hanging about the parents of the soldier as well, and she's got a suitor. But as the story develops, she has a choice to make, which is interesting as well, which differs from the 2016 film as well.
So that suitor's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, he's called Schultz. And obviously, if you're, to be or not to be, then there's a character called Schultz in that as well. I don't know whether that was just Lubitsch's buffoon character. I mean, there's a wonderful scene with Lionel Barrymore, because obviously the townspeople start getting, obviously they're anti-French, as you said, and they get rather antsy about why this guy's hanging about the family, and the way Barrymore's older, well, not his older friends, his friends, because they're all older, at Sunday morning, they kind of distance themselves from him, and then he gives this just fantastic speech that's just so good.
Technically, it's Sunday afternoon now. You don't know that excuse.
Yeah, it's Sunday morning when I'm shooting this rum.
It's normally a Sunday morning, but not today. So it's Sunday morning. They didn't change the clocks 3 weeks ago. How's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is that because Lubitsch is German, a lot of this stuff from the German side is probably stuff he saw after the war. Yeah. It's probably, I'm sure some of the things were said during that time that he heard, because he came over in the 20s to America, so he's after making a big splash as a director in Germany, so he'd have heard all of this.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful film about survivor guilt as well, and just obviously guilt in general over murder, but again, it's licensed murder.
Yeah, it's been moving on as well, things like that. And anyone who's seen the Big Red One will recognise that that's the problem Mark Hamill's character has in Big Red One, is like he sees killing as murder, doesn't see killing as killing. It's like, I mean, Lee Marvin says, but it's we don't murder people now, we kill them. And Mark Hamill's character just can't tell the difference. So it's looking at the fact that some people, no matter how many times you see it's state sponsorship murder because you have to do it to save the state, they can't really live with it. It's something part of war that no one likes to talk about too much. Like, why are certain people pacifists? Because they don't want to kill someone else. It's just not in their nature.
And again, there's a difference between shooting into space across the way from you and killing somebody that you don't actually see, and actually having to kill somebody right in front of you. It's a difference between dropping a bomb from whatever height and actually having to do it with your hands or in close combat.
Yeah, because if we watch Full Metal Jacket, it's like it's them disconnecting the emotions from the killing for 45 minutes, so you can actually see how that happens and what they want to happen, because you can't actually have that conscious. And it's really of I'm murdering somebody. They actually just want you to see them as almost like mechanical. You're just taking this machine part out, but it's an enemy.
Really. Yeah, the dehumanization process.
Yeah. And this character cannot really face that. He's like, no, this is murder. And he doesn't have really a clue how to deal with it. And most of the advice he gets is horrible.
Yeah.
And he basically bumbles his way into redemption.
Yeah, he's fortunate that the certain characters make their decisions, or he could be in a little bit even more problems. So.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't solve his problems. They solve his problems for him, really. Yeah. Which is a nice thing, is because it becomes about the human nature and like the German father learning how to move on from the anger he feels about his son's death, and realizing that the enemy wasn't the French, it was the government, really. It was the government who created this situation. It was not really the French people. They were just like the Germans. They were just like they were trapped in this situation.
Yeah, he says it in that wonderful speech, when we kill the French, we look at it as a victory, and vice versa, and they're worrying about their sons and burying their sons. We don't really care about it, but then when we have to bury our own sons, then obviously it's a different matter. So
yeah, and it's like that's why they hate each other, is because they don't understand the person's point of view. Like, yeah, this is a problem. You're just murdering each other for some political reason. Doesn't really matter ultimately.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the things I took away from the film is, if Lubitsch wanted to make a career in melodrama or dramas, he could have did that as well. He could literally have done anything he wanted, pretty much.
Yeah, but I think this one, because there was such a good weight for the story had a real weight to it. Yeah. It actually meant that Lubitsch couldn't be a smart ass. I think he liked being a smart ass in a lot of his films and showing up absurdity, which melodramas don't give you room for. Melodramas, they want you to take everything sincerely. And I think that went against Lubitsch's character. I think this one was so grave, the situation. You really could make jokes.
There's only a couple of little asides, but they're not really jokes. Like the pulling up of the trousers and all the townsfolk kind of witnessing this, and one woman gets a pillow just to make herself more comfortable sitting in the window ledge, which is quite amusing. But
but I mean, it puts humor in when he needs it to alleviate the tension for the film. Yeah. You've always this, I said, time bomb of you can always feel that watching the film is what's going to happen when you find out, because it is that narrative thing where if someone's telling a lie and it has to pay off somewhere down the line, it cannot go on. Someone has to find out about it, and that's the thing. And because this lie is so horrible, what it actually is, it's like this could get really nasty, because he's one Frenchman in a German town and no one knows he's there. They could easily kill him and no one would ever know. Yeah,
because originally you think he's going to say, but he ends up saying, oh yeah, he was friends with the guy in Paris, they met, and so he's living with that as well, and of course they want to know what he was like because we're friends and all their adventures, and so it just obviously compounds and compounds.
Yeah, he's making terrible decisions out of desperation.
Yeah,
he does not make one good decision till the end, which is basically to keep the lie up. That's really out of kindness for the parents of the guy and them needing him as well as him needing them. But generally, he makes his decision to go back to that town is a terrible decision.
Yeah,
and it's just something like if he had any friends, they would just literally say, "Don't do that. That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do."
Yeah, But then again, if the church had actually given him an answer that would have kind of calmed him down or gave him some kind of peace, then he probably wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, they were kind of useless.
Yeah,
and by kind, I mean very nice too. But just kind of. But that's where Lubitsch allows his humour to come in to show how useless the church is and how completely without base it is. And again, he puts his faith in the people, the decency of people, even though they've all got their own little biases. And it's a case of they'll learn to go and get beyond the biases. Sort of like shop around the corner, really.
Yeah.
Where people can grow over time. They start as one thing and then from experience they learn from the mistakes. But it's not like a solemn thing. It's much more like, okay, I got that a bit wrong. I need to refigure things out a little bit, and they become better people. But it's not like a preachy way. It's just like the way people deal with stuff in life.
Yeah,
which is
and it is interesting not to give spoilers for France from 2016, but they choose to have the truth revealed at a different point in the film.
Yeah, I've
earlier in the film. So.
All right. But
yeah, of course, that version is like almost 2 hours long.
Yeah. So what's a better version?
Well, I haven't seen it, but certainly.
Oh, right. I thought you'd seen it.
No, I'd said that I'd almost picked it up a couple of times before I even knew about the earlier version. It's just watching the extra. It does go into detail. So
just the way you're speaking, I thought you'd seen it somewhere along the line.
Just watching the extras, so there's differences and the similarities. So,
all right.
One of the differences is they choose to the cat out of the bag a lot earlier.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting choice.
Yep. So, is there anything else we have to say about Broken Lullaby?
No, I would say so. Yeah, it's, as we say, it might be a little bit unusual as a Lubitsch film, but it's really, really good, and I would highly recommend picking it up.
Yeah, it's one of those films that's hard to talk about in certain ways because it's just like, go see it, it's great. It's like a kind of flawed films are more easy to talk about in some ways because it's like, yeah, well, this didn't work, that didn't work. This one is like, yeah, this is great. You should go see it. This is wonderful.
Yeah, and again, 77 minutes. It's just so well paced. Just lots of stuff packed into it. And again, why people insist on making 2.5 hour long films sometimes, I just don't get it.
Yeah, I watched a 2.5 hour film last night. Brotherhood of the Wolf. At least it had wolves and kung fu in it to keep it going.
Yes.
You know. So there's that. So we're going on to the Bluebeards 8th wife.
Bluebeards 8th wife, which of course I've got on Kino Lorber Blu-ray as well.
Of course you do.
Because that was available before this was, obviously. And this is more Lubitsch that we're used to, but it wasn't written by Lubitsch. It was written by Charles Brackett and Billy Wilder. And we'll maybe talk about why it might not be quite pure Lubitsch quite yet, as far as I'm concerned. It's about Gary Cooper. Yes, Gary Cooper is actually in a comedy.
Well, he was in a comedy with written comedy with Howard Hawks. What's the one with the professors? All those professors. Balls of Fire.
Yeah. But obviously he's not synonymous with comedy. And he plays a very successful American businessman who's out in the Riviera. The film starts with him going into a shop wanting to just buy tops for pajamas, which causes all manner of hilarity in the shop and panic, because why wouldn't you buy both? And he comes across Claudette Colbert, who offers to help him out by just buying the pants. And he is smitten by her, and the chase ensues. She's got a father who is in need of money, so he wants to arrange the marriage. And then we find out, as you do, not that women are articles to be bought and sold or anything. That's 1938.
I know.
And we obviously find out that Gary Cooper has had quite a few wives. Yes. And it's just the morass and malaise that follows in the relationship between the two.
Yeah, and we should point out that she pretty much kicked the shit out of him for most of the movie. So it's not like we're making jokes about the father trying to sell her off to Gary Cooper, but she's able for him.
Yes. She's far from helpless.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's Claudette Colbert's film in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
She gets all the best stuff.
Well, she'd already done Happened One Night, hadn't she? Yeah, that was before 38, wasn't it? I can't actually remember. I think it was before 38. So.
Yeah. So, what's your
David Niven's? David Niven's also in it as well.
The most useless character ever.
It's like, I mean, for me, it's still very good, but it's not top tier Lubitsch. It kind of, the first half is absolutely fantastic for me, but it does kind of run out of steam a little bit. But it's still very good, but it's just not top tier Lubitsch for me.
I loved it. I really liked the second half as well. I mean, I was really into the second half. Just about how low he was getting, how more crazier and crazier he was getting. Yeah. It was a bit broad, but I didn't mind. I thought it was still well done. It's not as same leagues as Nautical or To Be or Not to Be.
No, it's not quite as precise.
but
as
it's
the
still
Lubitsch way.
really good.
Yeah.
It's still a really good comedy. It's like, I've got to say this, I much prefer Lubitsch to Billy Wilder. I really do. I'm not really a Billy Wilder guy. I know you are, but I'm not. So it's like...
Yeah, but I love Lubitsch as well, obviously.
Yeah. So why is it not just fully Lubitsch then on you go? Have your explanation.
Because again, I think it does kind of run out of steam or loses its way slightly in like the last third. I think, again, I mean, it is only like 86 minutes, but I think 84 minutes would have been right on the button.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it kind of loses its way a little bit in the last third.
All right, no, I disagree. I just think it becomes a different kind of film. It's kind of that Full Metal Jacket thing, really, where the first half's one film, the second half's a slightly different film, and you can maybe like both parts, but you might like one better. It just feels like it switched from a seduction thing to a marriage going wrong. So it's like two different types of stories, and yet they kind of adjust the fact it's sort of changed in a different film at a certain point.
Yeah.
And maybe if they found a way to switch it around to quick, easy in a better way, it might have worked better. Because the actual jump from them being the seduction to them being married is pretty fast. And maybe it could have been done more cleverly.
I mean, there's still lots of good stuff in the second half, but I mean, I've now seen it 3 times. And I still give it a 4 out of 5. I mean, it's still a 4 out of 5 for me. But it's just not that top tier Lubitsch. And I think part of that is the writing. Now, obviously, Lubitsch, I'm sure, changed things himself, but
a part of that early thing was very much Lubitsch. The pajama stuff and up and down to the stuff. So I think Wilder and Bragg had some of it, but Lubitsch kept on adding stuff that actually made it much better, they said, because it was just like he had these weird ideas that just seemed to up the absurdity of it all to a much funnier level.
Yeah, I mean, the first 10 minutes is absolute gold in the department store, and the business with the bathtub is just fantastic.
As a wash basin.
Yeah. But again, it's just that it's also about old money and new money. You know, obviously, Claudette Colbert's family, you know, we meet all the relatives and stuff like that. Whereas Gary Cooper is American, he's brash. Obviously, that's probably a dig at America as well. And capitalism and consumerism, and it is new money against old money, basically.
Yeah, and he's addicted to making money.
Yeah.
For a long time, that's his main goal.
Yeah.
He makes quick decisions. So he's like a character who doesn't want to have too much depth. He doesn't read books or anything. He just wants to have the sensation of doing stuff. It's very much a new American style of being that these old Americans in Europe can't get around. And then when he gets dragged into their world, he starts to lose his mind slowly and become much more compromised and frustrated and angry and basically
I was just going to say he's used to getting his way, and obviously he doesn't get his way. So
yeah, oh boy, does he not! I mean, she's pretty much she marries him just for the divorce settlement.
Yeah,
she arranged a divorce settlement before the marriage even happened. Is double the amount you pay for everyone else, and you know, she's like she's
the scene that he lists all his wives to her is just so well. That is so well written and just so well performed by Colbert. It's her reaction to all the women that he's married. It's just...
Yeah, this is when I try to get a photograph taken with her for her family.
And then penny drops. It's like, hang on a second.
You've had 7 wives. Yeah, I couldn't. I found out later it didn't really work out.
Yes.
It's like, he's the big joke about him is he's so impulsive that it's actually insane.
Yeah. And Edward Everett Horton is just wonderful again. If you don't know the name, you'll know the face. He's been in so much good stuff. And Gary Cooper's funny self in this film. Yeah, Gary Cooper works. I mean, as I say, when I first saw it, it's like, Gary Cooper, how's this going to be? But he's actually really good in it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I think the contemporary, I think the original reviews, they weren't so keen on him because they weren't used to him being this, like in a Cary Grant part. It just seemed a bit weird. Because it is a Cary Grant part. That's really what it is.
If it had been 2 years later or even a year later, it might have been Cary Grant.
Yeah, and it's like, but it is just funny the idea how impulsive he actually is, and it is almost like a disease. He has to be brought back to life a little bit, and she's just after his money blatantly, and will be cruel to him. And the scene where they do a kiss, and she, because he hates onions, she has onions in her mouth just to torture him. It's pretty nasty.
And the scene where he's taking kind of relationship advice from Taming the Shrew.
I know.
And because their apartments are like
separate
between a big corridor, he's like reading the book and taking advice and going back and reading the book again.
Yeah, he goes in and slaps, and she slaps him back, and he's like, "Oh, back." And then he does a spanking thing, and then he comes back in and just throws the Taming the Shrew into the fireplace. It's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I did like the idea that he ended up in an asylum. She drove him nuts. And that other businessman who was thought he was a chicken.
Yes.
Which is a lovely Lubitsch touch. Like, you don't really see that kind of stuff in a Billy Wilder thing, really. I don't think it's really. It seems like a Lubitsch thing more than a Billy Wilder thing. And yes, some of it is just hilarious. Some of the stuff they do in the seduction scene when they go swimming, and David Niven ends up turning up, and he's a total idiot. It's gibberish. He's some of the best lines when Gary Cooper asks him how much he's getting paid, and he tells him, "That's about right," and it didn't sound that much. It's like, and he describes him as one of the world's worst employees. He usually spends most of the time looking out a window.
Yeah.
And the typing thing. One.
Yeah, he just gets taken on as his holiday PA, essentially.
Yeah, he's just utterly useless. It's quite funny to see a character is just utterly useless. There's just no redeeming features. And
of course, 3 or 4 years later, if this was British, it would be David Niven in the Gary Cooper role.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. This was him before he became known as David Niven, before like Matter of Life and Death stuff. It's quite funny because this was made was like 7-8 years before Matter of Life and Death. It's almost like a different actor. Because
it is weird when you see that, when you see a film where somebody's not, the full persona, and then it's a really short period of time, and then it's like when you see the Dietrich film with an early Cary Grant that's not really the full Cary Grant yet, and then it's only a matter of 3 years or 2 years, and then he is.
Sometimes it's just one film, one director, and they figure it out, and that's it. It's done. They're who they are now.
You hear a lot, especially with female actors, of certain studios just not knowing what to do with them, and then they go somewhere else, and then they just take off.
Yeah, it's quite funny because Cary Grant, before he became Cary Grant as a star, he was one of those actors that a lot of the directors and actresses liked to have on the film because he knew what he was doing. Even if it wasn't fully formed yet, it was like, oh, we can trust him to do his bit. Don't have to worry about him. And then he took over the films, slowly but surely. But it was a nice surprise. It's one of those ones that it was just so much better than expected, because it was one of those ones that's like, it's not one of Lubitsch's better known films, really. So you expect it to be kind of, okay, it's a bit rough. Billy Wilder wrote it, but who knows if it's one of his better scripts or not. Because Billy Wilder tends to bitch about the directors who directed the scripts. He's much more of a,
that's why I want you to do it himself. So.
Yeah, and then you see some of the films that others directed from him, and it's like, they're kind of better directors than you. Like, I don't think Wilder can match Howard. For me, Howard Hawks is a much better director than Wilder will ever be. That's me.
Yeah, but I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because Wilder, as using the camera, he's not one of those directors.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lubitsch again, I much prefer Lubitsch to more. I think Wilder's one of my kind of blank spots as a director. There's even certain directors you have that everyone loves them but you, and it's like, and then I'm thinking, it's not even that he's bad, it's just that he doesn't really appeal to me. Really, there's something.
Well, that'd be like Paul Thomas Anderson for me.
Yeah, there's just something about them that you don't get why people are mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, all of Anderson's films that I've seen, they're all good, and I've liked them, but I haven't loved any of them. So.
Yeah, same with me with Wilder. It's like, I like the films and I see them, but it's not like I'm like crazily trying to get the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird because I've recently got into John Huston films, and he's done a lot of very flawed films.
Yeah.
But I'm still fascinated watching more of them just now. I'm just into his films.
Yeah, John Huston's another one. You know, I like just about every film I've seen of him, but I don't really love that many of them.
Yeah.
You can't love everything.
As a little hint, there's a John Huston film coming out next week on my channel.
Yes.
Just to let people know. I'm not saying what one it is yet. We're going to have to wait a day to find out.
I'm still to watch your video on the one Worse in Wales that you did.
The Criminal there.
Yeah.
Good film. My video is probably not as good, but who knows? It's a hard one to describe.
Yeah.
I saw you finally made it through the White Earp video, the epic.
Yes, that was really good.
Thanks. The one that was almost as long as My Darling Clementine.
Yes, I was waiting for the right 51 minutes to free up. So
yeah, we just went on and on. It's one of those things is like, I thought it was going to be 25 minutes. And it just went on and on.
I thought your intro and overview was excellent.
Yeah, thanks. No, but just that thing, I realized I was still in the intro 10 minutes in, and I thought that that's the point I thought I'd be going fairly okay at that point. And it's like, I haven't even started yet. Oh, this is going to be longer than I thought.
But again, as you said in the video, it's about, the survivors or whatever can make up the myth and kind of make themselves look better than perhaps they were, just because there's nobody else to argue with them. So
yeah, and then people go back and say, that sounds a bit dodgy. There's some stuff here that doesn't make sense. Yeah. So we've still got the early Lubitsch to watch. There's some other ones in the middle. We're still waiting to get releases, really. But we haven't promising to do the early Lubitsch films, so we have to do them this year.
Yeah,
there's a whole box set.
I have watched them, so
I haven't.
I'll rewatch them because they're interesting.
Yep, I need to watch them. But
certainly, these two are well worth picking up.
Yeah, it was the thing is how Lubitsch has got into my estimation from the last few years. Before I only vaguely knew of him as a good, funny director, and now I just love these unseen, straight away, which shows you how big he's up. I think To Be or Not to Be in Ninochka really did it for me, because they were. Yeah. There's other ones that were good I've seen, but those two kind of were really good. Those were brilliant films.
Yeah, I mean, Design for Living is excellent as well, and Trouble in Paradise is fantastic, and Shop Around the Corner is another masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. So.
Yeah, he was a pretty good director. He was, he did well for himself.
Unfortunately, another one that died way too early.
I know. That always happens. It's like, if you have too much talent, you're going to die. I mean, if you're a German with too much talent, you're going to die early.
Exactly. Murnau.
Him and Murnau is like, Jesus. It's almost weirdly evened out, because those two died and then Billy Wilder lasted forever. It's almost like there's an extreme in either direction.
Yeah. Also, Conrad Veidt, also not a director, but he died when he was 50 as well. So it's like,
Fritz Lang lasted forever as well, though.
Yeah.
I think if you're a German misanthrope, you're gonna keep hanging on till the bitter end. It's like Pressburger lasted for a long time as well. Yeah. He's German. People forget he's German. I think he's the forgotten German genius of the film industry. And weird way, because everyone just thinks of Michael Powell rather than both of them. Apart from us, we keep the...
Yeah, I mean, Pressburger was... I mean, if Powell didn't have those scripts, you know, he would still have the visual imagination, but it's those scripts that make those films, or part of the reason those films last and stand up.
That's a weird combination.
Yeah, because they shouldn't work together, but they just do. So,
well, here's Chris. Let's show his comment. Afternoon fellas, super late as always. I hope I haven't missed the nuggets of wisdom.
You've literally just run out.
Well, you've missed nothing.
You had all of them in the first 5 minutes.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I would say there was none.
The Nugget Police will be rewatching the video for the Nugget count.
All right. Is that your theory?
Yes.
I
mean, I've also got the Eclipse series of early Lubitsch musicals, which are fun as well. I mean, a couple of them are really good and a couple of them are okay. But again, there are early signs of, you know, what would come in his kind of purple patch. But they're worth picking up as well if you can find it.
But that's the thing people forget, is a lot of these directors had to make a lot of films to get as good as they were. There's a lot of practice and learning from your mistakes, which you don't get nowadays. It's like,
no,
you have a bit of promise in front of a Marvel film, which does not help you at all, because it's just special effects. It's not going to help you actually become a better director. It's going to just probably help you solidify all your bad habits.
Really. But I mean, obviously it's good that we're getting more Lubitsch released, and hopefully that'll continue.
Well, hopefully. I mean, the last few months in the retail market for physical media has been pretty brutal on my finances. So
I do need to pick up the Criterion of Clooney Brown. That's another Lubitsch I need to pick up, which is just Region A. But
all right, is that DVD or Blu-ray?
Blu-ray.
Oh,
I mean, it's on Criterion DVD as well, but
no, it's quite brutal. I mean, I was so happy that that trilogy box set from Eureka was pushed back a few months. The one that SGS is dying to get, because I was like, at that point, the pre-orders were piling up, and I was like, oh god, May's going to be horrible. And it's like, the expensive one's been delayed for a couple of months. Oh, thank God. Oh,
yes.
It's a bad sign. I always find the releases as you pre-order them and spread out, and then they get delayed, so they all suddenly come out in the same week. And it's like, how the hell did this happen? What's going on? They try to torture me. I remember in was the beginning of December, I must have had like 4 or 5 pre-orders suddenly all together. It was like, how?
Yeah.
They should have been months apart, and now they're all together in one weekend.
I'll just have to put a stable door in my front door for the postman.
Yeah.
Instead of a letterbox, you can just open the top half of the door and throw it in.
Yeah. You won't need that, yeah. Although I have been going through the Shaw Brothers set. Now I'm going back. Not on this week, the video next week with some of the weird ones, because I'd watched one yesterday that was shockingly odd, even for me.
Yeah, I'd heard that Volume 2 had some odd ones in it.
Yeah, no, I think it's one specifically. There's 2. Well, one isn't odd. One's odd because production, really, what happened in production. But this one, this other one is odd because of what's in the film. It's like, who the hell allowed this? This is like, what the hell happened? So, I'm enjoying Shawscope, and I'm enjoying the Shrimp Cheaper stuff as well. There's tons of them to watch.
That Shout Factory set is fantastic.
Yeah. It's funny because I watched the back to front, so I still need to watch the other ones. But
I watched them in order, obviously. That's it there. Fantastic. 7 films, I mean, come on.
Yep.
So I've went from 0 Sonny Chiba films to about 13 Sonny Chiba films in a short space of time. So.
Is some of that my fault?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm happy that you made me jealous to buy that Shout Factory one, because it's fantastic.
I know, but that was Chrissy's fault for me, though.
Yeah.
So put put the credit the blame it deserves. It's Hussey's fault, because Huss was the one that told me about the 47 Ronin one, how good it was. And then I think I asked him, is that box set worth it for these other films? He was like, oh yeah. So we kind of
yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend that set, because it's not all just Yakuza films. It's not all just karate films. It's not all just samurai films. It's a good mix.
Yeah, and the sixth film, the one from the late 80s, is insane.
Samurai Reincarnation, which is coming out in Arrow, is just wonderful.
Oh, that's good. But on the other one, that disc, the 80s one, the 80s hairstyles, and Cheap as the villain, with the blow up horses and things.
Yeah.
And all the weird rock music. That's wow, you can make that up. It's like you want to know how the 80s felt. Watch that film, because somehow they've got it all in there. Bad blue screen, weird dramatic choices, everything. And it's just so excessive. It's almost like another culture to sum up the 80s, because they took all the really weird parts to put in a film. So here's Chris for another one. Need to finish up Volume 1 before I go to invest in Volume 2. Ben on a third window kick recently. I think it means bean. Lots of mad camp and crazy stuff. Zany stuff.
Yeah, I got Electric Dragon 9000 on third window, which is amazing, but I couldn't do a video on it because it's hard to describe.
Well, I've got Streaming Punk Samurai one, because by the time I realised they were out, they're already sold out, and I was like, wait, what a minute? I was like, that thing is like, I'll get that in a couple of weeks, and then suddenly they're sold out, and it's like, what the hell happened? It's like,
I mean, I think it's only like 50 odd minutes, so it's not, but
yeah,
packed so much into that 50 odd minutes.
I was amazed it's sold out so quickly, because that thing is when you're just thinking, I'll get in a few weeks, like they normally do, and suddenly it's like sold out, and it's like, what? That's strange.
It's another great turn by Taranabu Asano. So
cool. Yeah, there's a lot of buying going on. So it's a real shame, eh? But I've actually found there's quite a lot of I'm now watching a lot of older films recently, just the older genre films. And there's a lot of really good stuff if you keep your eye out.
I picked up the latest Eureka set of old horror films.
Yeah, I need to get that, but I'm one behind. Yeah,
I could literally watch them all day long because they're just so much fun.
I have a Bullet Train coming through.
Yeah, that's out tomorrow, isn't it?
Yep. I'm looking forward to that. I want to see that for ages. You can see it on YouTube, but you want a good quality one.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Chris again for another one. I'll show you. I'm going to try a video on Electric Dragon. It's 56 minutes of pure energy.
Yeah.
How pure energy, though? I've got to know is it pure energy or just pure energy?
It's totally pure energy.
All right.
Yeah, I thought about doing a video and then I just went, I can't, because it's just, I don't know how to describe it, basically.
Yeah. It was quite funny because how when you decided to do the who's that direct El Topo and stuff. As soon as Jodorowsky, as soon as I heard you were going to do Jodorowsky series, I thought, oh, good, because I was dreading the thought of doing that one. I was like, I don't know explain that.
It's not easy, but
I was like, oh, I'll let him take the bill for this one. I'm happy just to watch them. I'm fine. I don't need to actually just do videos on him. That's like, that's just madness. It's hard enough doing Alan Clark for weirdness.
Yeah.
Never mind Jodorowsky. He's even weirder.
But then Electric Dragon is another film that could have easily been silent. Because it's really about the images, and so.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to find new, different films. I mean, Third Window has so many good films. I mean, I think because they don't come out every month for stuff, and they've actually put the effort into them.
Yeah.
So I don't actually mind paying full price for their stuff, because you feel you're getting your money's worth, really.
Yeah, plus you're supporting them, so
I
tend to try and get it from them rather than Amazon or whatever.
Yeah, Second Run as well is another one where I try and support as much as I can.
Yeah, there's a couple of second runs coming quite soon that I'm looking forward to picking up.
Yeah, they do have quite a lot of good stuff. But I've such a backlog with the tales as well. It's kind of difficult to get going. That's a problem with movie watching. You have so many films. I've also got now a backlog of John Sayles films on my streaming service. Believe it or not, I'm sure that'll make you happy.
Yes, it would be great if we had a backlog of John Sayles films in Blu-ray. But
I know
that's a start. It's a start.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've got 8 Men Out. I've got Passion Fish. I've already. What else have I got? It feels like I've got quite a few more, but I can't remember. It's like
8 Men Out is one of the few that you can actually buy in Blu-ray. So
yeah. So City of Hope. That was what I was thinking of. I've done a video on that one. But yeah, I mean, you do get some good films out in streaming. They will not come out unless you're buying a lot of fortune on their something from Australia or something like imprint. There's a lot of films that don't come out here.
Plus, I think I might have to write 100 letters to Mr. Simeone at Radiance about John Sayles.
Yes. There's Exorcist 3 came out in 4K in America. I just thought, I'm waiting for Arrow. I was going to do that one.
Yeah, because it's just the theatrical cut that's in 4K. So.
Yeah, I know. It was like, I was going to do it. So I'll just wait till that comes out cheap. I'll get it there. It's like,
because I bought it on the Scream Factory, the Blu-ray, and then of course Arrow released it in Blu-ray. So
yeah, you've got 2 of them.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Yeah. You're not the only one who got caught out. I also did that for Nightbreed too.
Yeah, so did that.
Yeah.
I think Nightbreed might have been the first Region A that I bought, in actual fact.
Yeah. So it's all Clive Barker's fault then that you started down this path.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no. That's the thing. There's certain films that I would just wait to see if Arrow or someone else does them in 4K because it's like I feel they play well. There's other ones I think I don't think they will do that. Like I want to get Cat People in 4K, the Paul Schrader one. Yeah, but it's like, will someone do that? As soon as I buy it, someone's going to put it out here. I just know it. So it's like, so that's kind of annoying because it's like, I do want it, but I fear that I'm going to look a fool as soon as I buy it. But
first time for everything.
Yeah. But I have been buying quite a few of the 4Ks from America, like Streets of Fire and Dress to Kill.
Oh, did you get Streets of Fire?
Yep, of course I got it. Because I could not resist. Streets of Fire. Looks very nice. You get all the extras of different extras, so it's all on one disc.
Yeah.
And Dress to Kill looks very nice too. And you get lots of extras in that one too. So I've so many copies of Dress to Kill now. It's a blowout. It's insane. You could call me foolish. A little bit of foolish.
Yes. I can't really speak. So.
Yes. Yeah. Have you got all of the Dollars trilogy now?
No, I'm still missing the first one.
Oh, for shame.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it at the right price, but
you get it for like 23 quid usually in eBay, something like that. I just try and kind of spread it out. Like, I'll get this one for this. I'll pay money for this one, then I'll give myself a breather now. Next one, just do it kind of slowly but surely.
Yes, it would be for Volante now. Strangely enough, when I originally watched it, well, as I said, it's never been my favourite out of the 3, but obviously as I've become more of a Volante fan,
yeah, more of an Italian film addict. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for me recently, the Italian for cinema, it's been Salima has been a big revelation. Just how he does genre films, but he does them so well and so intelligent. And I'm doing Revolver tomorrow, and Revolver's so good. It's so insanely obsessive. Well, I watched it on Prime. It's available on Prime just now. So I watched it on Prime, and then as soon as I watched it on Prime, I bought it. I was like, oh, I'm buying this. This is the way I'm not. I need this. I need to watch Oliver Reed obsess over taking the post to his wife.
I've been on a French film kick recently. Or by one director, as I should say. But
Yep. You do love Amazon France, don't you?
Unfortunately, yes, I do, because they're pretty cheap as well. So
I know. I was in that, but I've stopped for a little bit, just taking a bit of self-control.
Yeah.
But you obviously never got that. You just went.
I haven't ordered any more, but I probably will in the next couple of weeks because they're too good a price. You just have to watch the ones that have actually got English subtitles or not.
I know, because you can get fooled. Because I was told that La Belle Noire said English subtitles, and it did not.
Yeah,
which was very annoying. But it's not a film you need.
No,
I've seen the film anyway. It's not really a film about what they say, so I'll be fine. But yeah, it's kind of annoying me when they don't have. It's like you think France has put English subtitles on it. I mean, it's like you can sell them to Britain quite easily. There's film fanatics who buy this stuff, and it'll end up with a film they don't understand.
So to learn French.
I know. I've also got Godzilla films in German and Japanese without subtitles. But the Godzilla films, who cares?
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
you really need to know what they're saying.
It's not a Godzilla film written by Shakespeare.
No. It's, well, that would be interesting. Actually, suddenly have a lost manuscript from Shakespeare found, and it's a Godzilla story versus Mothra.
Yeah.
Godzilla's good to be or not to be monologue.
Absolutely. The origin story, the ultimate origin story.
Yep. I think we've jibber jabbered like crazy.
Yes, we went full circle back to Godzilla, so I think that's an appropriate time.
Yeah, I know. Right. I hope you enjoyed this nonsense.
Yes, go buy more Lubitsch films. That's the take-home message.
The first half hour, 40 minutes were sane, and then the last 20 minutes is utter gibberish. So hope you enjoyed, though, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.